the first kind of lefty wanker is the ones who are just shut it down, get this picture off the internet, ban the bastard who put it on the internet, and I want this out of my sight. I never want to have to see this again. And I'm talking about, these aren't sort of Jewish people or the blue Twitterati. Well, these are like the rank and file left-wing grunt. In this case, it's the social justice, but all of the leftists I'm talking about here are what we can think of as the most rancid, dumb, goyish robots. These machines, the whole narrative, the whole globalist superstructure rolls along on the backs of this middle chunk of Gentile fucking slaves. And they are absolutely outraged when they're confronted with a picture like this. And so the social justice types, their reaction, because they are the most skull-fucked people ever to have existed in the Western world. They've got no inner life. There's nothing rational about them. It's just, they're like a machine. Get it out of my sight. Get it off the internet. There's no analysis. I don't ever want to see this image again. Get rid of the person who put it on the internet. Just bump it off. Out of own memory hole, the whole thing. And then that's pretty much it. The second sort of archetype is the rational man, the skeptic, the one who says, well, what's wrong with that picture? Why are you worried about it? Why is anybody worried about it? All I see is a bunch of children in a school. Explain why it's a problem. And of course, that's because his default position, even on the left of it, is that we are all just deracinated individuals. Of course, I mean, the kid just doesn't look very happy, does he? But then they'll say, do you have any statistics? Do you have proof? Do you have evidence that he isn't very happy? You're never allowed to use common sense, you see. The rational man, everything has to be about numbers and statistics, but he's also full of shit. Because if he actually believed that, he wouldn't have even bothered responding to the picture in the first place. He, like a fucking social justice warrior, knows what this means. He knows the implications of an image going around like this, and he too is trying to sort of rationalize it. He's trying to figure out a way to sort of compute it and how to deal with it. And then the third one is the old-fashioned, that's racist. So, and they mean, without context, just a picture of a white boy surrounded by blacks looking kind of miserable and lonely that in itself is racist. Now, it's racist because it's not very flattering towards the multicultural agenda. It's not very flattering because it's not one black kid surrounded by whites. See, in that scenario, then the narrative has been inverted. But the image itself, when we look at it, there's something else going on with it. Why is it so effective? And it's effective because the young boy is breaking what they in the movie industry and in television they'd call the fourth wall. So if he was staring straight forward in the same direction as the other kids, or at least away from the camera, it wouldn't really matter. It wouldn't be as powerful. But what's happened is that he's actually looking in our direction. And so for me, with my kind of views, you're then dragged into that picture. You then become part of the consciousness in a way. And so because you're then you're looking in his eyes and he's in that situation. And so for me, I'm looking at and I'm thinking, look, I've done what I can, son. I'm sorry that you've ended up in that situation. I hope your parents get you out of that school. Maybe I could have done more. Maybe I could have done more to stop it. I did what little I could, son, but we'll see and we'll carry on the fight. But I'm still not very happy with that. But the problem is, if you're one of these left-wing wankers who actually supports the policies which put him in that position in the first place, then he's looking in your eyes, then it's a different kettle of fish. Because what do they say to him? What have they, and this is what's going on in their minds, and this is what's triggered the fuck out of them. What have they got to say back to that white boy? Diversity is your strength. Don't be a racist. Their whole narrative has been turned inside out, and they fucking know it has as well, and that's why they're losing their shit all over social media. That's why they're looking for ways to try and turn this around, or in the case of the fucking robot SJWs, just get it off the internet. Just get it out of my sight. This is disgusting. And it's disgusting because they're being faced with the consequences that they brought about. They're being confronted with a boy whose life is a fucking hell because of the policies that made them feel good, because they wanted the virtue signal, because they just went with the flow and the bullshit on the BBC, the diversity is your strength horseshit. They just took the easy road and went all the way along with it, and then they're confronted with that boy looking in their eyes, and the look on that boy's eyes says, I want you all dead for this. And he's going to grow up, and he's going to grow up to want to piss on their graves for it. And it's because they're no longer in the position of moral superiority. The boy in the picture removes that from them, and that's the problem. And I've been saying for years, the way you own these scumbags is to make them own the consequences of their ideology. And they can't stand it. They absolutely can't stand it. And that little boy there, he looks into them. He looks right into their soul. And he deserves to hate them for it. And he's going to grow up hating them for it as well. What they're looking at there is a future generation of white men who are going to grow up in a war-torn shithole. And they're going to know why it is like that. And these leftists who are getting triggered all over social media, they know it as well. And they just don't want to think about it because they haven't got the spine. They haven't got the moral fortitude to actually own the consequences of their own politics, because they're the lowest form of scum on earth. I've done a video before on how in any given society you will get a chunk of degenerates and psychotics, and they will tend to gravitate towards the left. And that's the case. And this white boy is looking back at them and saying, you are the psychos. You thought you were so virtuous when you imposed this on me. Fuck you, and I'll never forgive you for it. So I needed to get that off my chest. Thanks for listening, BitChute, and I'll catch you later.